In a world filled with temptation and worldly desires, it can be easy to become complacent in our faith. We may think that as long as we believe in God, we are safe from the consequences of sin. But as Jesus teaches us in Matthew 5:27-30, just believing is not enough. We must actively fight against the temptations that threaten to lead us astray. Imagine for a moment that Jesus' words are not just a metaphor, but a literal command. If your hand or your eye causes you to sin, Jesus says to cut it off or gouge it out. This extreme imagery is meant to convey the seriousness of the battle against sin. It's not a passive war. It's an active fight for our souls. If we don't take this battle seriously, the consequences are dire. Jesus makes it clear that lusting after someone in our hearts is just as sinful as physically committing adultery. And if we allow those lustful thoughts to control us, the punishment is severe. We risk losing our souls and spending eternity in hell. This isn't meant to instill fear or condemnation, but rather to remind us of the importance of actively fighting against sin. We can't make peace with sin or turn a blind eye to it. We must be willing to make sacrifices and take drastic measures to ensure that we are living in accordance with God's will. The stakes in this war against sin are higher than any earthly threat. The passions of the flesh are waging war against our souls, and the consequences of succumbing to them are far more severe than any worldly catastrophe. We must take the warnings of the Bible seriously and not fall into the trap of thinking that our salvation is guaranteed, regardless of our actions. It's not about flawlessly succeeding in every battle against sin, but about our resolve to fight. We must not become complacent or comfortable with sin, but rather actively resist it. The wrath of God is infinitely more fearful than any threat this world can muster, and it's a risk we cannot afford to ignore. So as we navigate the temptations of this world, let us arm ourselves with the resolve to fight against sin. Let us take seriously the warnings of the Bible and understand that our salvation is not disconnected from our actions. By actively waging war against sin, we can ensure that our souls are safeguarded against the threat of eternal damnation.